Hello, it's Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And here in the United States of America, we always think that we've had it the worst. Our slavery was the worst. Our Jim Crow was the worst. Our whatever we're complaining about that day was the worst. But maybe it was. And maybe by it being the worst, it made us stronger. Now, this is what I mean. This is a Brazilian soccer player. They call it a footballer. He's playing football in Spain. And he apparently is experiencing this really hard, vicious racism for the first time. He was doing a press conference, and here he is crying. So I said, Black American men, they're pretty much over the crying. The only time you're going to see one of them crying is if they lost the game. I don't know what the difference is. We know that Jackie Robinson, Hank Aaron, and Muhammad Ali for sure suffered some serious racism in the United States relative to sports while playing sports for different reasons. But, and I know that they probably cried, and I'm sure that they probably cried when they went back to their dressing room or when they got home. But crying in public like this for a Black American, I think, is unacceptable unless you're a kindergartner and you haven't learned to bring your feelings under control yet. And that's usually because he lost the game. So we have family all over the world, and they suffer. We all suffer from the same thing. But we handle it just a little differently. So I want to share this article because sometimes we do have to reach across the waters and try to support each other. I think, especially in a situation like this, not for arrogant people who will run around talking about they're better than everybody else. I'm talking about people like this. But I think, let me just share what he said. Vinicius Jr. left crying in Brazil press conference discussing racism suffered in Spain. Now, the first thing you have to realize is that these people are trying to put you down because you can play the game better than they can. So that ought to give you some consolation. Real Madrid and Brazil star Vinicius Jr. was left in tears during a press conference for his national team as he discussed the racist abuse he had suffered. Abuse he had suffered before an international friendly match specifically arranged in response to the same issue. So it sounds like they arranged a match for these two teams to address the racism in their sport, which this is not the first time we've heard that with those European teams. Spain was set to host a fixture at the Santiago Bernabeu, Vinicius' home stadium at club level, with a one-skin slogan intended to reinforce both federations' commitment against violence and racism in football, the Spanish Federation said. So they're trying to do something about this racism in the European soccer clubs. This is not the first time we've heard that. And if they think they're going to stop those people from coming out there and spewing those racial slurs against those players, they got another thought coming, because they'll take off from work to come to a stadium to call you a racial slur. That's how strongly they feel about it, because That is all they have left. However, Vinicius has again recently been the subject of abuse, with Real, and I guess that's the name of the team, filing a complaint against a referee after a La Liga fixture, which is a scheduled match, after he failed to include alleged abuse against the forward on his match report. Now speaking ahead of the game, Vinicius insisted he was losing my desire to play because nothing was ever done to punish or deter those who abused him. However, he also said he would not leave Spain and would keep fighting for titles with Madrid to avoid giving the racists what they really want. Well, that's right, they really want you to quit, but they also want you to keep on crying because then they know they're inflicting pain on you, so you need to stop that crying. So this is when he pivots and says something really dumb. He said, "I am sure Spain is not a racist country." Let's remember now, Spain is one of the original colonizers and enslavers to the Western Hemisphere. He continues, "But there are many of them in stadiums. That's got to change because the people don't really know what racism is." So he is very naive if he thinks that the Spanish people don't know what racism is. They were part of the inventors of it. "It's difficult," he said. "I'm only 23 years old, and I've had to tell many Spanish people what racism really is, what affects me, and that my family are left at home sad because of it." Since the first time of his experiencing racism in Spain in the stadiums, things have got worse. That means that all that teaching he's trying to give them is not doing any good. Because those who do it aren't punished. They have more power. Oh, yeah, you better believe it. They know they can do anything, and they know the words they say about the color of my skin can affect me on the pitch. Well, that's where you're going wrong. You're supposed to be a professional. You have to do like Jackie Robinson. You have to take it. And then you have to show them that you are the best. It's exhausting because you feel like you're alone. I've made so many official complaints, but no one is ever punished. Vinicius was sent off against Valencia last season after reacting to racist abuse, and La Liga boss Javier Tebas was forced to apologize afterwards for saying the forward was not informed on the subject and allowed himself to be manipulated. "I can't have any problem with them in response. I only want to play," he said. "I just want to feel good and be able to go to every stadium in Spain with peace, and that nobody can upset me because of the color of my skin," Vinicius said. Well, that's his decision. You have to decide not to be upset about the color of your skin. The Brazil attacker lined up against England last week and will win his 28th senior cap if he takes to the field against Spain. So this is a young soccer player from Brazil playing in Spain, and apparently this is the first time that he has experienced racism. I find that hard to believe, being from Brazil. There's racism down there too, but probably a different brand than what he's experiencing in Spain. But a black American player, I try to think about a black American coming out there crying during a press conference because of racism, because I've seen some African players do that too. They are not used to that harsh racism and the name calling to their face or directed at them. But even a black American, I think, I don't believe they would be crying at a press conference, because if they did, they would be made fun of, I think, at home, at church, at the pool hall, the girlfriend, the baby mama. I mean, it wouldn't work for a black American to be crying internationally because of racism when it's been going on for so long. But anyway, Paul Robeson, who was one of our early icons who's an ancestor now had something to say about the racism he faced when he played football way back in the 1920s.
A black man in a white society, the sort of the underlying hatred. Modestly, I've struggled for the rights of my folk, and I have accepted many personal insults. But when the insult becomes an insult to my people as a whole, then there's danger. I was once playing football, and my nose was broken. Well, I was quite willing to take that, but I suddenly realized that these fellows were saying that you are Negro, you are frightened of us, you are frightened of a white man, you run. And when I thought of that, the next play, I had a fellow about 165 over my head, and I was about to break his back. But this was an insult to my people, not to me. And this, I feel, is very important. It's defense of what he calls his honor and his dignity.
So that's what it comes down to, defending your honor. When you say black skin is a problem, you're not just talking about one person. You're talking about all of us with that kind of skin. But some people are only concerned about how they feel. And so before anybody starts feeling really sorry for him, take a look at this. He got a Becky on his arms and he don't feel no ways tired. So anyway, this is the key to the black man's dilemma right here. So I don't know how to figure it out. They have to figure it out for themselves. But you don't need to have any white person or Asian person or Hispanic person on your arms, male or female, until you deal with your own anxiety over being black, because you cannot make somebody else respect you if you don't respect you. Now that's just what I think, but let me know what you think. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.